So if you're ready to move from inaction to action and find that resolution, find that clarity so that you can get things moving in your life and get to the other side of all of these really, really big emotions, then keep on watching. Hey wild mamas and friends, Tiff here and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for you to be here, for us to be together. And my bird is just as excited as I am. All right, y'all. So am I right or am I right that mamas are notorious for being stuck in our heads, overthinking and never taking action? At least the mamas I work with, that is a all-around universal struggle that we have. But it's no judgment, it's just how things are, but that's what we're working to change together. So we don't want to be circling around in our heads, overthinking, stuck in inaction and in old patterns. No, Wild Mama is all about breaking those patterns so that we can come into our fullest potential and attune to that instinctual wild that we have, because y'all, that is what is ultimately going to change the world, because us mamas, we impact generations, boo. But as you know, Wild Mama, Tiff, we are all about imperfect action. So I do not want you watching my videos, engaging in my blog, getting all the insight and then not doing anything about it. I'm all about accountability and I'm all about imperfect action. And so I want you to commit to taking small steps, small action. And so today, as we think about decluttering our minds to find clarity, I want you to be committed to not only reflecting, but taking some kind of imperfect action. So let's get it. You ready? I'm ready. We ready? Let's go, Wild Mama. Okay, so this video is going to be broken down into two parts. So the first part is finding resolution, and the second part is taking action. So we're thinking all about decluttering our minds to find clarity, right? The decluttering part comes when we're thinking about finding resolution. The clarity part comes from taking action. I love the saying that I think I created, maybe I got it somewhere, but I'm the one that always says it. But action brings clarity, and we can make it more Wild Mama like. Imperfect action brings clarity. So yes, we're getting into some very, very deep work, and maybe you're feeling like, damn, this is a lot, I don't know. Can't you just tell me the answers, Tiff? Can't I just hurry up and get to the clarity part? Did y'all see my bird flying? That's Petey. Anyways, you might be saying, Tiff, I just want to get to the clarity part. I just want to hurry up and get there. I got a lot going on in my life. You know, this moment, this global pandemic, like things are going down. And I get it. I get that we don't have a lot of time. I get that there's a lot going on, but you cannot bypass doing this deep work on your own. If you do not show up and do the previous first 3 steps before you do today's step, if you don't do that, you will not come to any level of like deep clarity that's actually yours, and confidence. Like it will be hard to have confidence and to create any kind of sustained action or change on your end if you haven't done the deep work to navigate all of these things and what they mean for you, and to figure out what is coming up for you, to get to the root, to get to the heart of the matter yourself. So yes, it's harder, but trust me that the ROI, the return on investment, is so much greater and so much more enjoyable if you do engage in this process. And again, if you go back to video 1, I encouraged you, just find 15 minutes a day. This doesn't have to be hours a day or weeks, you know, to engage in this process in a meaningful way. Just give yourself 15 minutes, even 5 minutes of uninterrupted time, and I swear to you, things will emerge and you will start to gain clarity. But you have to be committed to all of the steps, and you have to be committed to your own deep work. If you're not, I would just recommend ending this video and moving on for the day, because it's a waste of your time and mine if it's not really what you want. You got to be committed to your own transformation, your own change, and your own journey. But if you are, boom, Wild Mama, I promise you, it is for good and all good things will come from it. Okay, so like I said, the first part of this video is all about finding resolution, decluttering your mind. So I have some reflection questions that I'm going to read to you, that these are some things that you can engage with. So if you have a pen and paper, I encourage you to write these questions down. If you don't, I would pause this video, go grab some paper and pen, come back, push play, and continue on. So here are the questions that I would engage in if I was trying to resolve something inside of me after having done some reflection, in order to start to actively declutter my mind. So the first question is, what have I learned from this process? What have I learned? Question 2, what am I most surprised by? So remember in last week's video, I was sharing all about my feelings, and the wisdom that my feelings had to share. And in that, I had so many different aspects of wisdom that I was really surprised by. So this question is really awesome because there's probably a lot that's been uncovered for you that you also are surprised by. Question number 3 is, what are my biggest takeaways from naming and dialoguing with my feelings? So in the first step, we named our feelings. In the second step, we welcomed our feelings with intention. In the third step, we listened and dialogued with our feelings. That's a lot of reflection time and engaging with our feelings and emotions. So it's important to think about, what are your main takeaways? Question number 4 is, what have I resolved within myself as a result of this process? So again, this is all about finding resolution. So what have you resolved? What has become clear in engaging with this process? So doing this level of reflection is so important. I can't stress it to you enough. It's so important, and it helps you not only find resolution, but kind of conclude everything that you've been feeling. And it doesn't mean that you will have resolved all of the feelings and emotions, but it's important to start to move in that direction by doing this level of reflection. So ultimately, we're just trying to get at, what are you taking from this, and what are you getting out of all of this reflection and the wisdom and inspiration and insight that your feelings have shared with you throughout the process. So for me, last week, you remember my beautiful journal. Last week, I shared with you 4 of my own feelings that I ended up doing some deeper digging into and listening and dialoguing with. And I came out with a ton of deeper reflection and just takeaways and wisdom. And again, those 4 feelings were shame, anger, fear, and sadness. So if you haven't watched last week's video where I shared more about the wisdom and insight from my feelings, I really encourage you to do so by looking at this video right here. But what I wanted to do today was to just share a few of the takeaways and insights as an example of things that I took away from my own feelings, and that conversation that I had, in case it's helpful for you. So some of my takeaways from that was, it takes strength, power, and intention to turn the adrenaline that fear produces into more useful energy, but that's my warrior power. Another reflection that I had was, sometimes we need certain things to motivate us to action, even if in the end they weren't the real purpose for us being here. Because like I shared in the last video, some incident kind of happened. It was what I thought was part of the reason why we were here in Hawaii, but it's clear that it's not, but that is okay. Another takeaway was, I saw that I can sometimes associate setting healthy boundaries with creating conflict and drama, because the distress and the feelings can feel kind of similar in both circumstances. So I have to actively tell myself, we are not creating drama, we are not creating conflict, we are setting healthy boundaries. So even if the feeling feels the same, it's very, very different. And that really helps me to not internalize, unhealthy things or blame myself for whatever is taking place. Another takeaway was, but we have the right to set boundaries, say no, or defend ourselves when wrong is done to us. We are allowed to speak up. We are allowed to create boundaries in order to protect our sacred space, bro. Yes. The other takeaway was, of course, we want peace and love, but it's also a part of the reality of life, like getting hurt or having hard things happen to us. And we do not want to avoid reality, which, if you were in my program or if you know anything about my program, that is week 3, facing your reality, aka facing your shit. So Wild Mama and I am all about facing your reality, because it is the only way that you can truly get to your destination, and where you ultimately want to be in your life. Okay, so another thing that I learned about myself was that, and this is something really big that I didn't even share in the last video, but one thing I learned about myself is that when I'm vulnerable, and when I'm kind of in a hurt, very tender space, I'm almost like a sponge, and I can unintentionally allow like toxic things to kind of seep in, or like old other people's shit or old patterns. I can let those things seep in, and that can make me feel confused, tired, and sad. And so this really taught me the importance of using my emotional intelligence and awareness to walk myself through my feelings the way that I did last week, to walk them through and to talk to them, so that I can operate at my higher self and not become those feelings. And so it's just really something that I realized. And then I also, in addition to that, or like because of that, I also realized why my feelings kind of rush in the way that they do, because ultimately they're trying to protect me, because I'm vulnerable, I'm open, I'm exposed, and my feelings are like, yo, we need to come in and protect Tiff right away. And that really helped me understand why I get so overwhelmed, why my feelings are like rushing and bombarding me. They know I'm vulnerable. They know that, like, oh my God, all this stuff happened. Holy crap, Tiff's open, vulnerable, a sponge. We gotta protect. And so I just realized that that's why a lot of my feelings come flooding in the way that they do. But it also helped me appreciate my feelings so much more, because I realized, oh dang, they really got my back. So that was kind of a awesome realization that I came to as a result of doing this process for myself. And I just really learned a lot dialoguing with my feelings. And so I'm so curious, how you have dialogued with your feelings. And in the last lesson, what came up for you? So if you haven't already gone over to the blog and shared those thoughts, I really want to hear from you. Or just share in the comments below, what did you come out with in terms of dialoguing? What lessons and takeaways did you get? So this was the first part of this process of finding resolution. And so be sure to look at the reflection questions, write them down, and take some time to reflect, so that you can come up with your own takeaways from dialoguing and having processed intentionally your feelings and emotions. So as you can see, I got a lot out of my conversation and dialogue with my feelings and emotions. But in terms of an even bigger lesson that I got from this experience, and not just this experience, but like just the time that I was kind of in, and I haven't even shared this with you guys yet, but before this all happened, like I would say like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I literally got stung by 2 jellyfish, not 1, 2 jellyfish in the span of 8 days. Y'all, it was crazy. Specifically, they were Portuguese manowar, which technically aren't jellyfish, but I'm gonna keep it simple for y'all. Jellyfish. I got stung by 2 jellyfish in 8 days, which is honestly just insane. Like, who gets stung by 2 jellyfish in 8 days? Like, I don't even know. Like, but seriously, the first time I got bit, it was so crazy. I was out trying to surf, and I just felt this sting and this like buzzing feeling on my arm, but it got my arm all right here, and then it also got side of my leg right here. And then when I finally got out of the water, before I cut my toe, I cut my toe on the way out of the water also, but as soon as I got out of the water, the feeling and the sting was so intense, and it was just like slowly making its way down my arm, up the side of my arm, into my chest. and I had like welts. It was like welted all on my arm. It was swollen. It hurt so bad. And then it would like kind of go down and then come back up and just intensify. And I did not know what was gonna happen because I had never got stung in my life before. Not by a jellyfish. I got stung by a bee, but I've never got stung by a jellyfish before. So I had no idea like what was happening. And yes, TMI, I did have my daughter pee on my arm because they say that you should pee on your arm if you get stung, but that shit doesn't work. So FYI, don't do that. But I wasn't sure what was going on. So I tried to stay calm, but then y'all, I would say like a year and a half prior to this incident, I went to watch the sunrise at a beach here in Hawaii, and a native Hawaiian uncle told me, like we had a long 3-hour conversation, but in that conversation he had told me that if I ever get stung by a jellyfish, to go to a particular plant that has these little white balls. I don't even know what the plant is called. I haven't even looked it up. But he said if you ever get stung by a jellyfish, use this plant, squeeze it, and put it all over wherever you get bit, and everything will be fine. So literally, I could not have asked for a better place to get stung, because I was one beach over from that beach where he told me and showed me where the medicine was. So I was just so grateful to have found the plant and to have found the medicine. And I was so grateful to that Hawaiian uncle, who I have not even seen since that day, that he had shared that wisdom, with me, because it absolutely came to my rescue. It is like a miracle, and it really made me appreciate the moment in a different kind of way. So back to the bigger lesson in all of this that I was trying to explain was, so I got stung that first time, but then like 7 days later or something, I got stung again. But overall, what I realized from this, and what I felt like the ocean and the jellyfish was teaching me, is that even if I get stung, right, even if I get hurt emotionally by anyone else, if I ever get hurt by the ocean, this is just a part of life, right? It's not something that I can avoid or try to avoid. So no matter how effed up it feels, no matter how painful the sting it feels in the moment, when I do get stung or when I do get hurt, because I will, not that I'm going to look for it, but I'll get hurt by people. I will get stung possibly again. I will get hurt in some kind of way. I just got to remember that I have the medicine, and I have to remember to use it. So I think this is a really big lesson for all of us that I want to share with y'all. We are definitely in some really difficult times, but I want you to know that part of life, the universal laws of the earth and of the universe, is that there will always be chaos, there will always be change, there will always be hurt, there will always be pain. That's not something that we can actually avoid. Yes, we are trying to make the world a better place, but these things exist, they coexist. They're supposed to be here. They create that yin and yang and the balance that we need in our lives and in the universe and on earth. So the point isn't to try to avoid pain at all costs. The point isn't to try to avoid getting hurt by anyone at all costs. The point is to, when you do get hurt, or when you do get stung, or when emotions get so big and it becomes so difficult, that you and I remember that we got the medicine and that we just need to use it. So I gave y'all the medicine. I've helped you uncover the medicine within you over the last 4 weeks, but y'all gotta use it. I gotta use it, right? We have everything within us to heal and to be better and to navigate all of these difficult, challenging times and emotions. I know it's hard, and it will continue to be hard. We got a long road ahead of us, but we do have the medicine. We do have the capacity and the ability to navigate these challenging moments and these challenging times, just like I had access to this medicine just one beach over. So yes, the sting hurt. I'm glad that it wasn't something poisonous, but I had the medicine. So I don't need to be mad that I got stung. Yes, it hurt like hell, but I went and I got the medicine. I felt better, and I got so many lessons out of it that now I'm able to share with you. So what's crazy is that all of that happened before this crazy incident happened to me here in Hawaii with some people here. So it was like I was prepared for that painful, emotional event here because I had got stung. The ocean prepared me, the universe prepared me, and it gave me the medicine so that when this very challenging incident came into my life, I was able to manage it, I was able to move through it, and I was able to do what I had to do. So remember, you have the medicine. So if you're feeling me, if you are ready to use the medicine, the sacred medicine that you already possess, comment below and let me know that you are on track and you are feeling it and you are ready to use this sacred medicine to heal yourself. So wow, mamas, let me just let you know, deep reflection and self-awareness is a gift. It's a gift for you from the divine. Your wild intuition and capacity to navigate the deep inner world that is within you and pull out the wisdom so that you can heal is your sacred medicine. So please do not ignore the fact that you already possess that within you. All right, so if you're feeling what I'm feeling and your life force is flowing, give me a big yes in the comments that you are committed to not only finding but using the sacred medicine that you already possess within you. Okay, so that concludes part 1, which was finding resolution and taking action, thinking about decluttering our mind. And now we're moving on to part 2, which is taking imperfect action. My favorite thing ever. So our beloved imperfect action wants to ask you, now that you have resolved everything in terms of the things that you were taking away from the dialogue that you've had, from the processing that you've done with your emotions and feelings, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do with those takeaways? What actions are you going to take? What are you going to do differently to make sure that you fully embody the change and become the person that you are seeking to become? So I have some questions for you that I want you to think about as you're thinking about taking action. So here are some questions that you can think about and reflect on. So get your pen and your paper so that you can do this later on. So the first question is there anything that needs to be released? So we're talking decluttering. Decluttering is active. Decluttering isn't take everything out your closet and put it in a pile and leave it there. No, you actually have to decide what the pile is going to be, and you have to take it to the Goodwill, or you got to give it away, right? Decluttering is active. So it's really important to think about what needs to be released or let go of. The second question is what's needed to move forward. The third question is there a lesson that you want to commemorate or create a visual of? So this is a way to get your creativity involved. If there's some kind of lesson or quote or takeaway or wisdom that you want to commemorate, like for me, I really want to get a little jellyfish. I don't have any tattoos, but if I did, I would want like a jellyfish tattoo right here to remind me of the medicine and the sting. And I also really want to kind of write out some quotes and put them, in like some kind of Canva or whatnot. But I could also, I have some like doodling stuff over there and some painting things. So I'm thinking of commemorating mine in some kind of painting or visual. The fourth question is there a gap in knowledge or skills? Healing that you'd like to create more intentional space for. So this is really important because sometimes when we're processing emotions and feelings, sometimes we realize that there's a feeling that we have, but the feeling arises because there's a lack of knowing or understanding or skill related to that. For example, when I feel not as confident in something, I can usually pinpoint it back to somewhere where there's some knowledge and skill that I don't have, and so my lack of confidence or my self-doubt isn't coming because I don't have the capacity or the ability to do what I'm trying to do, but because I do lack some kind of like specific knowledge or skill. So that could have come up for you in your process of reflection. So whatever it is, whatever the action is, just be sure that you're taking action. Okay, no matter how small and insignificant it may seem, it is vital. It is so important to move and take intentional but imperfect action. So I wrote out a bunch of actions that I was going to take based on the things that I thought were possible beyond the feelings that I had shared last week. So I'm just going to share with you a little bit of my takeaways and the actions that I'm going to take, so that you can see just how simple they can be. It doesn't have to be complex, but I am committing to some kind of action to get things moving and to actively declutter so that I can find clarity and peace of mind. Okay, so for shame, my main action, which I kind of already shared, was to just release the shame and replace it with pride and joy. That was enough in terms of my action, and I think that just comes out in my own pride in myself and belief in my character, and also joy in my body and emitting that joy in my everyday life. The second feeling was anger, and so my possibility beyond anger was confidence and action. So I took action by actually writing a letter, but then in addition to that, I wanted to stay focused and committed to walking through my tunnel. So I showed you guys that tunnel last week, so I'm committed to walking through my tunnel of light, and further into my purpose. So that looks like, for me, staying really focused. Right now I'm doing a lot of work on Wild Mama and getting things ready to just serve the world and shine my light. And so for me, staying focused and not getting pulled into drama or whatever, that's the way that I can, ultimately change the anger into confidence and action. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so for fear, my possibility beyond fear was embracing my warrior, and continuing my preparation of my warrior skills and abilities so I can transform that fear into power and slay the beast, slay the predator, slay all the haters. But my action, my bird agrees. But my action was to continue painting my face whenever I want. So I love to paint my face and get warriored up, and that helps me stay connected to my ancestors and my roots, which is something that's very important to me. Petey. But I also am looking to stay committed to my spiritual rituals and journey, and remaining grounded and aligned to the energy of my soul. So the last feeling that I had was sadness, and my possibility beyond sadness was to intentionally grieve the loss and embrace openness for whatever else wants to emerge, and whatever kind of guidance is coming for us. And for me, so letting go of ideas I had about the way things might go here and open up to what truly wants to come through. My action is to grieve the loss, let go of any expectations I had, and start being open to other things that want to emerge. So don't ignore the signs, and actively journal about ideas as they come to mind. So as you can see, like, these are very, very simple actions that I'm committed to taking. And so you'll see that you don't have to have overly complex actions or imperfect actions for it to be meaningful, right? So just take the action that you feel like you need to take, or based on where you currently are now, but don't not take action. And don't try to make it be too much. Just be where you are. Okay, so now that you've learned how to declutter your mind and find clarity, I want you to focus on your deep work for this week, which is to do both parts yourself. So you're going to find resolution by engaging with those reflection questions that I gave you. And then you're also going to take action by thinking about what actions you need to take, what kind of things you need to release, and then doing it. That is such an important part of this entire process. So make sure that you think about what your action is going to be, and then commit to doing it. When you're done with this fourth step in our process for managing your emotions in difficult times, I want you to come over to my blog, link down below, and I want you to join the discussion and tell me what were your main takeaways and what is one action that you're committed to taking as a result of this deep reflection and deep work that you've been engaging with over the last few weeks. Okay, so yay! I've got flowers for you to congratulate you on finishing the final step in this 4-step process on how to manage your emotions in difficult times. If you've been joining me for the last 4 weeks, you should be so proud of everything that you have accomplished, and I am just so excited to continue this process of deep work and attuning to our wild and just being the best version of ourselves together. So congratulations, you did awesome. And if you're new to this channel or new to this video and this process, just go back. I'll be linking to all of the 4 videos. You can watch them back to back. But I'm just so excited to have went through these 4 steps with you over the last few weeks. All right, y'all, this was such an amazing conversation. I've so enjoyed this dialogue with you over the last 4 weeks. So be sure to subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell below, and let's continue disrupting the status quo by truly coming back to ourselves and attuning to our instinctual wild and just being the best people and mamas that we can be. Yay! Thank you so much for joining me, wild mamas and friends. I so appreciate you. I love you. And please don't forget to share with me everything that you took away from this lesson. You can share in the comments below or on my blog. I can't wait to see you next week. Peace, wild mamas.